Trading is probably the hardest way to make easy money. By the end of the month, I see that how much these trades have cost me and how much it would have actually made me more profitable if I just haven't made these mistakes. Yeah, you're in the wrong industry. It doesn't work like that.
One sort of key tip that has helped you come through that, what would that be?
I will actually give you two.
Welcome back to Data Process Over Profits. Today here I'm joined by Kaz, a funded futures trader who's been documenting his journey from 0 to 6 figures in payouts. He's known for his structures and approach, blending ICT concepts with obviously his disciplined mindset. Kaz, appreciate you being here today. Let's dive in. Start off by obviously introducing yourself and a bit about your background.
Sounds good, man. First, I want to say thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure for sure. And then I'll give you a little bit of a context on my background. I come from a third world country, to be honest with you. So coming out here to America, seeing all these opportunities is a very big blessing for me. And I got a scholarship through high school coming into America at age of 17, and then transitioned into going to college, working three jobs at the time. And I went to the college. There's this area that you can sit outside, and I sat on this hammock and laid down. I was like, this really can't be my future, working three minimum wage jobs, going to school without like 2, 3 days of sleep. So I dropped out, got into entrepreneurship, definitely got the backlash from my Middle Eastern parents. So we'll leave that out. But after that, I honestly just like anybody else, looked for ways to make money online. I tried drop shipping, I tried Amazon FBA, and none of those really worked. And then I finally got into trading. And funnily enough, one of my coworkers at the time, his brother was into these signal groups and stuff like that. And he told me, oh, yeah, let's buy like Tesla options. I bought $4,000 at the time because I got a decent job. So I had some money saved up. And then that went to $15,000 with a span of, I think, 45 minutes. And you know how that's how the story starts usually.
Yeah.
And then yeah, after that though, the good thing is I didn't go back and blow it all. I actually didn't trade for like a whole year almost. And then I lost $5,000 on the same thing, Tesla options. So the market will take what you don't deserve. So that definitely got taken away from me. And then shortly after that, I actually started dating this girl, which I went over to her house, spent the night, woke up in the morning and see her in the computers, and I thought, oh, she might be trading options, and she told me this thing, futures, that she was trading, and that's literally that. And 2 weeks later, we broke up because I was more interested in the trading than I was with her, so that didn't work out. But after that, just saying the word futures, got me stuck, and that's when I dove into a deep hole, and then it's just the rest is history, man.
That's awesome. That's a really interesting story about how you got into it. What was that specific moment that thought, yeah, okay, trading, that's something I want to pursue?
To be honest, I was 200 and almost 90 pounds when I turned 15 or 16. I was a tall kid, so again, I had a big build on me. After that, I lost about over 100 pounds, got addicted to the gym, and I know every trader says this, but the gym and trading, the discipline is very correlated. So if you're already a gym goer, you most likely have better shot at trading. So I just took that mindset into trading, and I was like, this is something I can do from anywhere in the world. This is somewhere I don't have to answer to anyone. And this is something I don't have to worry about overhead, products, this and that, which is, again, trading is probably the hardest way to make easy money. And that kind of
Nice.
attracted me to it. And yeah, and from then on, I just was like, I can make this work. There's no plan B. And I just dove head on into this.
Do you know, almost everyone I've spoken to so far has said trading is the hardest way to make the easiest money, which is
It,
so interesting that everyone obviously says that. So, what were your sort of early months like then? What did your learning process look like? Was it a lot of trial and error? Did you sort of have a structured approach or?
honestly, the first probably 2 years I could have done without of, because I could have probably done that 2 years in the span of a month, because I was just not disciplined. I wasn't waking up enough in time. I didn't have a game plan. I was journaling on like a piece of paper that was like, oh, I'm long, oh, I'm short. This trade lost, this didn't, and it was very, very unstructured. If honestly I had the right mentor and I came by the right concepts early on, I could have been profitable maybe a year or so before now. So the first 2 years honestly went down the drain. And for anyone that's listening, I do really recommend If you can get a mentor, if not, just look at the right people and trust the right actual concepts and strategies, because the strategy is really 20% of trading. And you can come by a good strategy within a week and master it and backtest it within a month. But after that is the whole psychology part, which again, that's the hardest part. But yeah, the first 2 years honestly were a kind of a mess. And after that, I came across ICT, and I already knew kind of liquidity zones, demand, supply, and then I fair value gaps and inverted fair value gaps. Those were the things that really shifted my trading. And then I was like, this guy has some good concepts. So I read more into it, got some more data. Again, I don't religiously go through every single video that he has and then follow him like a cult. And he created the algo. I don't really care about all that. If it works for me, I use it and I make money with it. So that's that. Yeah.
What did your friends and family think when you obviously started your trading journey?
Well, to be honest, I came out here to America by myself at 17, so I still don't have any family out here, even like 9 years later. So I mean, they were back in my country and they were upset over the phone, but I mean, it's my life at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah.
And they know I'm not a kid that parties. I don't go out much. I don't really dabble into all those things. I'm really a homebody. I'm either at the gym, at work, or I'm trading, or sending out newsletter, or growing social media, something productive that I like to do. And they took it okay, to be honest with you, because they trusted me, even though they sent me to America by myself. So they already had that trust in me, but it wasn't a big shift. Definitely my grandpa, because he studied in UCLA, he got a PhD, and he was wanted me to always be a mechanical engineer or architect or some sort, which again, all Middle Eastern parents do. But at the end of the day, it was all good as long as I'm happy.
What does a typical trading day look like for you from wake up to obviously wind down for the day? How does that go for you?
Well, starting off, I set my game plan the day before. So if I don't have my game plan written down the day before, I don't take a trade, because then I'm just, again, even though there my A plus setup might form, again, if I don't have a game plan, I don't trade it. But usually, typically after work and the gym and everything, the Asia session and the New York session have been over, and also the London's somewhat starting. So I chart out all the highs and lows, which I call them buy side and sell side liquidities of both sessions, chart out any fair value gaps that are in mind or any higher time frame imbalances that are in mind. And then I write down to see if we have any news, any red folder, orange folder news, if we're bullish or bearish, and if we have a clear draw. Those three things are like mandatory that every day that I have to write down. And the draw of liquidity, or the DOL, is probably the most important, because if I have a clue where we are going on a higher time frame, then I can go down to a lower time frame and take a position that is leading towards that price, which makes it easier. So if I'm uncertain in where the draw of liquidity is, most likely I don't have a trade. Um, Now that's just to get the day started. But when we get into trading, I actually go to work at 7 to 5 still. So I still have my 9 to 5 job. It's called the golden handcuffs. If you can make more money both ways, why not? So I still keep that going, but definitely I head to work early so I can get behind the computer. I have two monitors set up actually at work, which they allowed me, which I'm thankful for. But set up at work, so I get there early, turn on my computer, and then get behind the charts. Mostly, I'm done within the first 2 hours of the day, and if I don't find anything, usually the last hour and a half or hour, which is the power hour, we get some good reversals that I do that tend to take. And then after that, after everything is done, the day is done, I review the whole game plan. I have a whole template that I edited over the last year or so that worked out for me. Put out if I'm what I can work on, what I did great. And then lastly, if I'm green or red, not based on my P&L, but based off if I followed my rules, if I stuck to my plan, and if I did those things and I still did day, I still lost money, that would be a green day for me, and vice versa. And then again, rinse and repeat the same thing for the next day. And yeah.
When doing your sort of daily reviews, do you have any particular questions that you could sort of give to the audience to help them do their daily reviews? Sort of things that they could ask themselves when doing a daily review to help them improve?
Yeah, I actually have a very, very, very in-depth weekly review that I put in a template as well in TradeZella. And that questions you need to ask yourself are basically, if you're feeling uncomfortable during a trade, why that is. If you take an A plus setup, why that is. What type of market conditions are you in? There's a lot of in-depth things that I can actually show you as well here, but just basically over time, you got to see what really works for you and detail that journal to the best that works for you.
Do you have any sort of non-negotiables in your routine? Like I know obviously you said about doing your pre-night the morning before. Do you have anything else like that?
Mostly just that, and then in the next day, obviously, most of my setups include me taking a buy side or a sell side. If we haven't taken any of those out, that's kind of a stay out for me as well. Also, one more thing, on important occasions like birthdays, I know it sounds weird, birthdays, anniversaries, days that you're really meant to enjoy, I don't trade because if I take a bad trade in the morning and then I have something going on later, that would kind of be a messed up mindset for me. So that's obviously a non-negotiable for me either, which is again not that many days a year. It's maybe 2, 3 days for you, which I recommend. I really, really recommend taking it off. And yeah, those are mostly just the things for me. And then obviously, if we have FOMC, if we have NFP or CPI, those high red folder newses, I don't tend to, even though sometimes there's great setups, I don't tend to get in before because I've got caught in slippage before and blown out accounts, which definitely never want to do again. So I'm not going to indulge it until after news hits. Those are my definite non-negotiables.
If you just want to obviously take us through one of these templates, and then we'll dive into a little bit more about obviously your actual trading strategy, and maybe you could show us an example of how you actually trade.
Sure, yeah. This is I'll just show you this long that I took today. I actually missed a very huge short setup today, which is fine. But again,
Yeah, I
these were the
saw.
three. Yeah, that short setup was crazy today, which was exactly my setup as well. But either way, we move on. Hindsight is 2020. I did again. Those are the three pillars that I did mention to you that I first write down the day before. Again, write down the news, write down if we're bullish or bearish, and then if we have a clear DOL, which is draw on liquidity. Then this is what I type up the night before. Again, this is the game plan for the next day. So whatever it turns out to be that I'm looking at, I write down right here. These notes that I do add, these are lessons that I keep learning when the day goes on. That's why journaling is so important because you can see something in front of your face for like day after day after day and not even realize it. So when you do realize it, write it down and make sure it's visible so you pay attention to it. But basically, I do like putting pictures because it does help. Even TradeZella has the replay, which is amazing of your trade. But I still want to put down the things I look at. Some trades I don't take. I want to make sure I write them down. And then this is the in session. This is when we actually start the day in the morning, and I do updates on the London session highs and lows, and we'll see how the market's moving and what particular thing I'm looking at. So this is usually what it entails of. This is also one part that I put over the years. The
I love it.
first, yeah, the first like hour and a half to 2 hours, I always want to know how the market is moving. So that is a non-negotiable for me. Again, we can add this on. I do have to know what type of market we're in. And for me, honestly, trend days are probably my worst days that I can trade. Chop and range bound days are the absolute best for me. So because that's why I only have one setup for trend days. And if you miss the entry, you're kind of gone for the day. But either way, this is usually what it entails. And then lastly, again, mistakes I made and what I did, and I stuck to my rules. So I wrote those down, see what I can work on. Like again, I missed that trade today. I wrote it down. It did bother me a lot. So I put a scale on how much it bothered me. And then I can work on this so I don't let FOMO or tilt or anything kick over. And I try to take some other entries, which again, I made that mistake yesterday. So I noted it down yesterday. But again, I told you at the end, I put green or red. And again, this is not based off my P&L. It's based off the management discipline and sticking to my rules. So this is just my, again, daily game plan that I go over. And if you like, we can hop over to the charts now and I can go over those with you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. So this is actually the trade. This is the day today. I can actually start from last night. I took these on 10 eval Apex accounts with heavy sides and I passed 10 accounts last night. I didn't put that in the journal because that's not fair because that's not on my actual funded, but I'll chart this out for you right over here. Let's see. I usually do use ES and NQ both together as so I can set some divergences. So let's say divergence, basically SMT is called a smart money trap. What I see is let's say if ES takes a high but NQ doesn't, that would be a SMT, which is a very clear indication of price action that I can see. So I'll show you perfectly here what I mean. Give me 1 second.
And which one do you normally execute on ES or NQ?
I weirdly, because not a lot of people do, I actually do a lot of ES trading because NQ for me, what I've realized over the years moves very fast and moves by crazy amount of points. Like just the Asia session, you can see here we've moved like almost 160, 70, or almost 200 points, which when you trade prop, even with micros, that's still a lot of money that you are putting on the table and or a lot of risk that you're putting on the table. So ES for me is always been the smoother route. And the mentor that I followed really back then, the old school mentor, always traded ES, and I just kind of followed along. But again, just depends on the day. Because let's say like this week we had Tesla earnings come out, and obviously that's more heavily on Nasdaq, which again that's why it made Nasdaq way more volatile like yesterday and
Yeah.
even into today. But I can show you here that again, this could be also the data highs and lows that we just talked about. The data high will be here is this 1 minute candle that we gapped up about let's see how much we gapped up here. About 100 points on ES, which is crazy. So you when we gap up, I again still mark these as a high and low on these candles right here, and then I can show you on ES or on NQ as well. Just bear with me real quick.
Nice.
Now, what I look at here, my model is called the Forever model. Again, it's not my thing. I just tweaked it a little bit. It's more ICT's concepts. But what I want to see, the criteria is, let's look at it right here. So perfect. First thing I want to see is this is again the buy side of that candle, and this is the sell side of that candle, or we can say BSL or SSL. First thing I want to see is a sweep. Now we see a sweep right here. It ticked above, it tried to move down. That is called a sweep. After that sweep, I want to see a fake move down or a little bit of a push down to basically indicate the sells that are trying to get at that level. So some sells are getting here. What I want to see is those sells getting stopped out, which is also called a stop hunt. And we see that happen right there.
Yep.
And then we set a new high. Perfect, right here. So this will be our new high. We don't want to see price go above this high because if it does, then it means our trade is invalid. And that's usually sometimes where I put my stop at, but I'll go over that right here. What I want to see after that, after we set a new high, I want to see a break of structure below. This could be shown in two different ways. One is right here, which is the inverted fair value gap, which is the change in the state of delivery. And also, if you want to be really sure, which I most of the times, like 8 times out of 10, I also wait for a break of structure, which is right over here. You can even say that structure right here, but we see a break of structure right here. You can take an entry right here at this candle close, but since I see some liquidity taken out at this internal low, which is right here, we can usually see a retracement back to the fair value gap that we created right over here and take a short right there. Now let's see. I tend to put my stop, if this is the fair value gap, I put my stop usually on the top of the first candle or the bottom of the first candle. It tightens the risk again for, and usually doesn't retrace to that part. And if it does, again, the trade most likely is invalid. And most of the times I take fixed R. It just all depends. If we're, let's say, risking 15 points, I'm not looking for a 2R, I'm looking for 1.5, and then I'll leave a runner. But if we're risking 7 points, I will look for a 2R. And then the rest is going to be runner again, which we're going to target the data lows.
Okay.
And let's see where it goes here. Mhm.
Do you use time of day filters at all? So do you have like specific trading times where you'll trade, or are you open to trading any session anytime?
This is actually a funny thing. I did realize a couple of days ago that Asia session is probably my worst session of all, which I stopped trading mostly because I looked at the TradeZella chart and all my Asia session dots were red. And I'm like, what's going on? And again, just like I said, everything is in front of your face, but you can't see it. So Asia session's a no-go for me. London, however, it's great, but I'm mostly sleep during London. Bonus tip. London always has a manipulation of the high or the low of the Asia, and then it reverses back. I'm not saying it goes all the way back up to the high or low, but it at least has a good halfway retracement, which can be a profitable setup. And every time I wake up in the morning, I see that setup happen. But again, it's 2 in the morning. I'm not going to be awake at that time because I already wake up at 4:30 as is. So I'm not trying to be awake at those times. But London and New York are probably the best sessions to trade for me.
Are you sort of open to taking multiple positions in a day, or is it one trade a day type thing?
To be honest, if I take one good trade a day, I'm done. If I see something really A plus, like today, the only reason I didn't take it today is because I just got out of a long and the short formed like 3 minutes later. And I just didn't want to cross that boundary because I usually like to wait 5, 10 minutes before switching sides. So again, that's why I missed out on that trade. But I usually tend to stick to 1 to 2 max. If I have one losing trade, then I size it in half and then I go for a second if I see any. Very rarely I take 3 trades, but mostly 1 to 2 trades max.
Awesome. Makes sense. How often are you sort of tweaking or refining this strategy, or is this pretty locked in at this stage?
To be honest, I was tweaking this strategy till maybe even 4 or 5 months ago. But now I see it play out like day by day, like bread and butter. Like I can show you, we can keep going on this chart, like
Yeah,
very
yeah.
simple. I can show you right here. So again, we'll see this play out. And what I was going to actually show you is a perfect structure of an SMT real quick here as well. Now, as you can see on NQ, we have taken that candle low. But what you'll see here on ES, it if I'm not mistaken, I don't think it does take that low. And that's where I use the SMT to basically get out of my trades or even get in. As you see right here, rejected it, it didn't take that low, while NQ actually did. So that would basically be marked as a SMT. And if you see a funny thing here, we actually formed another forever model right over here that I just saw. I didn't even see this last night. If you see here, when we took this low on NQ, this is our stop hunt right here. Then we came lower and set a new low right here. And then we performed the break of structure right over here. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to pull all the marks now, but we put a break of structure right here and changing the state of delivery. There was this 1 minute fair value gap, this 1 minute right here, and we ran through both of it and closed bullish. And then you can enter a trade based off that and just go long. And you could target again whatever the risk management that works for you is fine. But I usually tend to target fixed R's, or if we have a clear draw, like this is a very clear draw on an internal high, set it right here for a 3R, boom. And again, it forms back to back. I didn't even see this, to be honest, and now it already formed. But yeah, that's mostly what I trade. And then I have 2 other playbooks, which again, the one I use also often, but one of them I mostly use for trending days. But this is basically what I trade on a daily basis.
What's your opinion on sort of partials or break even? Is that something you've implemented or not?
Yes. So basically, what I do on for partials and stuff like that. Again, if we have a really clear draw, I will not take partials. I will just target that draw. But if we have, like, let's say I'm targeting like 40, 50 points on ES, and that's like a 2R, I usually tend to take it at 1.5. I don't take a fixed R on an actual cash account, but on prop firms, what I've noticed, it's very important to take profit. And 1.5 to 2Rs, I take 80% of my position off, and then I leave 20% for either 3R or 5R. Again, just depends what I see on the draw. But I don't really shoot for those 8 to 10 or 11. I maybe caught like 2 or 3 of those in my whole lifetime, but I mostly take everything off between 2 to 4.
Awesome. Thank you. Development of your strategy, I can see it's obviously very much so price action strategy. Did you do much back testing for this, or was it just sort of something you looked at the charts and picked up day by day?
No, most definitely back testing. I had this period of time that I was going through probably, I would say, 10 to 20 trades per day. So I was sitting just at my computer looking at, again, back then we didn't have trades back testing, but where I had just, again, TradingView replay. So again, replay obviously doesn't give you the feel of the actual market, but again, it did its job. And I kept looking for the same exact setup over and over again. next day, same thing. I would just keep rewinding like a year back, a few months back, just random times, and then start trading throughout the whole week and then see what my stats were for the whole week and kept doing it every day for like, I would say 2, 3 months. And then obviously when you hop into the markets, every cycle is different and context in trading is so key. You can be as mechanical as you want. I personally think it's different in trading, and you can't just be based off mechanical trading. Depends on the context. If we have news, if we have earnings, what have we gapped up? Have we not? Is price choppy? What type of market we're in? Do we have tariff news? All those things partake in my trading. And again, I personally just don't think mechanical trading does make too much sense.
But is your entry model not slightly mechanical?
Entry model, most definitely, yes. But again, for the context of the day, that's what I look at. But if I see that overnight, we've already rallied 100 points up and I have a long setup, I'm not shooting for another 100 points up. Again, the unknown can happen in the market. And my trading, again, the model itself, the entry is mechanical, but what I use to manage that trade is not mechanical.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Awesome. I know obviously you said you do the weekly reviews and the daily reviews. Do you do like monthly reviews where you dive into your data as well? Or are you mostly focused on the journaling and the context side?
To be honest, I have weekly review again, which I can show you right here. I have a full in-depth template for it as well. You can see all the dates going back
Oh,
right over
wow.
here. Yeah, it
That's
goes a
awesome.
long way. Yeah, thank you. I've been on the charts and on the journals very religiously, but this is the in-depth I see weekly. But for the monthly, what I actually do, I do go to my tags, which are probably one of my favorite things
Yeah, I
right
love
here.
tags.
Yeah, and I am a little bit pessimistic, so I do look at my mistakes a lot. And by the end of the month, I see that how much these trades have cost me and how much it would have actually made me more profitable if I just haven't made these mistakes. And if you see here, bad timing alone has cost me 1,400 bucks since the start of this year. And I copy trade on accounts, so I copy trade on 10 accounts. So these will be times 10. And yeah, it does become painful. And then you see here that the only mistake was oversizing once, and then that paid off. But again, that's still a mistake.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is what I tend to review on the monthly basis, like religiously, and then just go over to my playbook. And again, it's the forever model right here. I go over to here and mostly look at what percentage of entry and exit criteria and what has actually paid the most for me. So again, stop hunts and breakup structure, just like I went over with, they're like mandatory for the trade to form. And if we don't have it, a lot of times the price would just reverse and stop you out again and just go long or short. But those on a monthly basis are very important for me to review, and it's helped me a ton.
Awesome. Thank you so much for obviously showing us your review process. It looks like you've gone really in depth there. So obviously the progress you've made is amazing. And I can see obviously all the work that you're putting in. So good stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What were some of the biggest psychological hurdles you had to overcome in trading?
Probably the biggest, my issue is after losing trades, I tend to basically tilt, and after one or two or three, and then I start going down to four and five, and then I just start becoming taking higher size, and that was my biggest problem for the longest time. And one thing I can recommend actually to the listeners, I can show you right here. One of the best books by Tom Hugar is The Best Loser. This I, the amount of knowledge he shares in this is absolutely insane. And what one thing that helped me a lot to help with this, every morning I do meditation and breath work, and I do 10 minutes of stretching. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, this is voodoo BS," stuff like that, but breath work and meditation honestly has been an absolute game changer for me as a person and as a trader. So in this book, what one thing it mentions is to picture in your head when you're doing meditation, breath work. You can do it when you're sitting at your desk. You don't have to go that in depth if you don't want to, but just close your eyes and imagine you taking a trade. Now, if that trade is a winner, just imagine that in your head. Imagine and see, feel those emotions. Same thing with a loser. If that trade is going against you, feel those emotions, you get that heart pumping without even looking at a chart. And that those are the things that kind of really helped me out with my psychology and journaling. Honestly, after using TradeZella, I was going to show you right here. I have a weekly a journal that I just have a binder of that I there's like 10 lists of items of if I stretched, if I read a book, if I drank 1.5 gallons of water. I became obsessed with data and just finding out that as a person, I think is really important. And I keep a daily journal for my emotions. I keep a weekly journals for my actions. I journal my workouts and track my workouts. I journal my trades. Just keeping data really puts you on track, and you can actually improve daily. Because if you don't know what you did wrong and you keep living the day by day by day by day, and 2 years later you're still in the same position, the reason is you don't know what you're doing wrong. You know in your head, but you forget the next day. So having that on
Yeah.
paper or on the computer is very important.
Yeah. Journaling truly is like one of the biggest life hacks there is.
It truly is, and I swear by it. I have like a bookshelf of journals that are full. I at least journal 1 to 2 pages a day. Again, just like I said, I have 4 or 5 different types of journal that I do daily, and there is time. Trust me, I have 2 jobs. I trade. I try to grow my social media. I work out. Again, there is time in the day if you want to make something happen. You can definitely do it.
You said about one of the biggest problems that you had personally was obviously tilt, and you said that how meditation has obviously helped you come a long way with that. Now, obviously, a lot of people have the same problem, right? It's probably one of the most common problems in trading. If you could give someone, obviously, just like one sort of key tip that has helped you come through that, what would that be?
I will actually give you two. One thing is if you can remove the P&L green and red button on your trading platform, do it. Just please do it, because looking at that thing is just like an adrenaline and a dopamine rush going straight through your veins and your heart, and you really don't need that, especially after you just took a trade that you weren't supposed to, and then the trade that you actually wanted to do forms, and your heart is just pumping out the roof. One thing is take that off. Second thing is after you take a trade, I usually give about 10-15 minutes off the charts so I don't look for a second trade and I don't look for opportunity that's not there. Clearly, if you stuck to your rules and you took a trade that didn't work out, the prices has invalidated your setup. So there's most likely not a setup available for a good little while. So take 10-15 minutes off the charts, close your browser, go for a walk. If you're at work, just keep to continuing work. Because again, I'm at work still when I'm trading most of the times. So I just close that browser, go back to go to work, and then come back 15-20 minutes later, open up the charts. And then most likely in the power hour or a couple hours later, if I see a setup, then I'll take it. But very rarely now I enter setups like back to back, which most like 9 times out of 10 for me has caused a loss.
Now you've obviously started and you've trained across 10 different accounts. Does increasing size affect your emotions a lot more, or are you kind of still in check with that?
Not really, because at the moment, again, I was already trading with 10. Now I got another 10. So I've been trading, and now from actually starting tomorrow, I'll be trading 20 accounts at the same time. It Since I keep it at micros, and since the actual amount doesn't show as I mean it does show all over all the accounts, but I block it out, and then it
Yeah.
doesn't really tell me how much I'm up or down like on all of the accounts. So it just tells me how much I'm up and down on one account, which when trading micros, if it's $50, $100, $150, I'm very comfortable with that, and it doesn't really affect me. The only time it does affect me is after I've already lost and I see the whole amount on all the accounts. Or when I really get close to a payout, like a day or two before a payout, that's when I also notice that I start becoming jittery and I start looking for trades that are not there and I start making mistakes. So those are the times I actually size down. Yeah, and then go from there. But yeah, when I start getting 1 or 2 days close to my payout, I size down, and then also turning off the computer after 10-15 minutes. That's really important.
Do you have any sort of routines on how to reset after you have a bad trading day?
To be honest, not really, because at the end of the day, again, I meditate 2 to 3 times a day, and after work and after trading, I do tend to go to the gym. So if there's any frustrations there, I do Muay Thai and I do some fitness. So if there's any frustrations there, someone either at the sparring is going to get it, or the punching bag is going to get it, or the weights are going to get it. After that, my brain is kind of clear and I'm good for the next day. I tend to, again, this used to bother me a lot, and I would let's say, like these 2 trading days did not affect me at all. This one day over here did affect me quite a bunch, but again, if I have those days, I usually go half size the next day if it's really bothering me and it's still in my head. But at the end of the day, I mostly have a clean slate. And by the next day, I'm not even worried about what happened yesterday. Because if you keep focusing on getting your money back, this is not a casino. You're not going to.
I know obviously you share your trades and you share your journey obviously online. Has being public about your trading journey helped or hurt your psychology, do you think?
Sharing my journey has definitely helped, and you come across a lot of good traders. I actually learned one strategy just a couple of days ago off of Jade Cap. He's one of like the biggest like traders that he's trading funded accounts and stuff like that. His age range, with his age range indicator and stuff. So you can come across a lot of useful things. It just depends on where you're looking at. If you're looking at setups, if you're looking at learning new things, if you come across other traders and see how they trade, I think those things can be really helpful. But if you're diving into like P&Ls and oh, this guy made like $2 million today and I lost money. This guy hit like 10 trades and I only traded once. Those things can spiral you down really badly. Um, sorry, 1 second.
No worries. As it's essentially what you're trying to say is, you got to stay in your own lane, right?
Yeah, most definitely. And definitely don't compare. If you're looking at other people's P&Ls, like it's crazy because I post like trade reviews and stuff like that. And let's say it gets 10, 20 likes, whatever it is. As soon as I posted a payout screenshot, 120 likes, which I've never seen before. And all over the place, everyone's congratulating you, which can be kind of toxic if you're
Yeah.
boasting yourself. You just gotta again stay in your own lane. Social media is just social media too. You're looking to help out other people and maybe even get some help yourself. Nothing more than that. I wouldn't look at it as again P&L charts and looking at other people's TradeZella screenshots and everyone's posting 100K this much and you're just over there comparing. But definitely can be helpful if you use it properly.
Awesome. If you could go back to the first year you started trading, what's one thing you would tell yourself to do differently?
I would tell myself to stop dilly-dallying around and actually get a setup I can learn like ICT. Again, a lot of people hate on him, but I wish I came across the ICT back then because he was doing his mentorship back then. But I was just very arrogant, and I thought I was like, now I'll figure this out myself, and then this and this and that. And in trading, you really don't need to reinvent the wheel. And I'm not saying you have to trade ICT. You can trade many things, patterns, supply and demand, trend lines, whatever it is that you want to trade, just find something that makes sense to you. When you want to get into a trade, like if you have a strategy that really makes sense to you, like, oh, it took this high, oh, I want to see this, oh, this is the entry, perfect. If you're still questioning yourself, like, oh, am I supposed to enter here? Oh, am I supposed to put my stop here? If you're still questioning yourself through those things, those are still basic levels that you need to get over. And I would focus as soon as you start trading, either get a really good mentor or find a really good strategy from a credible source that you can actually trust and you see millions or hundreds or thousands of people actually using it that works, which again, these days is not hard to come by. You can find that and then start backtesting. And after you've mastered that, again, you're maybe 10% of the way there, then you can start working on your psychology. And then you can see all the insecurities you had, the confidence that you had, all those things will come up with trading. And I was a really confident kid before I started trading because I lost all that weight and I looked great and my confidence was up through the roof till I started trading. And then I opened up a can of worms and all my insecurities that I basically didn't acknowledge were there. And then trading really does humble you and grows you as a person. So I will look for a profitable strategy and then go from there. Don't just trade random things, show up for the market and be disciplined. Like that's all it is.
Awesome. Trading, yeah, for sure. Will definitely humble you if it hasn't already. So yeah, awesome. You spoke about all these sorts of different habits that you have, such as meditating, journaling, and all these sorts of great things. But what would you say is the most underrated habit that is helping you become consistent?
Let me think about that, guys. I would say keep journaling honestly every single day. I mean, that's not really an underrated habit. That's I think it's a must.
Oh, I
Um,
mean, like completely. If journaling has been, one of the biggest aspects of your growth, then yeah.
honestly, it's been probably the only thing that's been the aspect of my growth. Because if you think about it realistically, as retail traders, because we're all retail traders at the end of the day, we're fighting. billion-dollar companies with billion-dollar algorithms, with the smartest people on earth creating these to basically go against us. So the only tools we really have are backtesting, journaling, and then your mindset, and obviously your strategy. Those are like really the three, four things you can control, which are we have to master those like to 100% to its best. And trading is not something that one day you can show up and oh, you just take this trade. Every single day there's something new to learn in trading, which is one of the things that got me hooked onto it. Not it every single day is different and there's always something to be learned. But just whatever tools you have, master those because there's no way you can show up with no game plan, you don't have anything ready, and just click a button and you make money. It's really not that easy in trading. And I get a lot of messages now that I've been posting on Reddit and X and all that. And they're like, oh, I'm 14, I'm 17, I want to make a lot of money this summer. I'm like, yeah, you're in the wrong industry. It doesn't work like that. And whatever tools you have in your hands, master them to its best.
Kaz, this was an absolute killer conversation. I really appreciate your transparency and showing us obviously your structure and all the gems that you've dropped for us today. For anyone listening, make sure to go follow Kaz on X for obviously more insights. If you just want to obviously shout yourself out here.
Yeah, you can follow me at Kazzy Trades. It's Kazzy Trades on X. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on today. As I said, great session and some really great insights dropped there.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Josh.